even think about all of the shit I did to fit in. Past hard to watch like a fucking scary movie. I'm always happy to meet somebody that never knew me. Change for the better, hope niggas are living through me. I put it all on the wax so the people can know the true me. Hard to remain sane when the people you love the most is what's causing the damn pain. Y'all beef by the same thing, we ain't playing the same game. It's all for my family. She the girl of your fucking dreams, but to me she a plain Jane. You dipper and ball man, I dump when them calls came. This that higher level thinking. I'm the type to jump the fuck off of the shit before it's sinking. Not here for no new shit, my game slide to boost it. Ain't I don't have to prove shit, Rockstar fight the fool shit. My movie, this the new script. I want a life with no bullshit, nigga. I know on these news clips, that's why I dap him and move quick. Won't be around when they move switch, won't be around when they lose clips, won't be around for they loose lips. Might be the reason they pull shit. Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back, bro. Listen to me, man. We here to talk about the MLB All-Star game, which I can really tell you about that game in about 2 minutes. But, bro, to address something else first, bro. But dudes cut my grass. Now, first off, bro, I don't want to hear nobody talking about why you don't cut your own grass. Bro, mind your business. The dudes who cut my grass, though, my guy, I was sitting out here when they was doing it, because I was sitting out here smoking a blunt while they was doing it, because we don't smoke cigarettes over here. But I was sitting outside in my truck chilling, watching YouTube, drinking some water. I'm on that water heavy now. Got to cut out all those sweeteners and all that other shit, that artificial sugar and shit. It's time to cut that out. But I was sitting out here watching them cut the grass and shit, right? And they was, working hard. Looked like they was working hard at least. And I really didn't pay it too much attention. You know what I'm saying? I go in the house, take a shower, get ready for work. I leave, boom, come back, it's nighttime. I'm not paying too much attention to the grass. I get up that morning, and I don't have to go to work that day that I get up. So now I'm focused more, because I know I'm going to be chilling at the house a lot today, because I'm one of them motherfuckers, if I ain't got to work, bro, I'm not leaving my house. Like, I don't have no reason to be leaving out of my crib. Like, I just don't have that. I don't need to. You know what I'm saying? I might run here a couple places, but for the most part, I'm going to be in my crib if I ain't got to work. So I walk outside, and instantly I'm paying more attention to the grass. And I'm like, man, they did an ugly job cutting my grass yesterday. Like, this shit don't even look good. And then I step into the grass, and my foot still go down deep within, like, the grass. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? I'm like, bro, they half-ass cut the grass? So, needless to say, I'm not happy about my grass. I'm about to start cutting that shit. See, the only reason I don't cut grass, well, I actually do cut grass, but the only reason I haven't been cutting grass recently is not just work, but my body just do not react great when it's too hot. And it's just been way too hot for me to be out here cutting grass. My body been acting like a big pussy. Mind you, I have not been taking great care of my temple, so lately. But we overall in the past 2 years. But we good now. We back on track. We good now. But we here to talk about the MLB All-Star game, right? I could have had a better opening to the show, a better story to start off with, but fuck it. I was thinking about my grass. But check me out, man. The MLB All-Star game. We got a lot of shit to talk about with this game, because we ain't even really going to talk about the game as much as we going to probably talk about a couple players and just a couple things surrounding the game. So, the game start off, my guy, Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts. That's my guy. Listen, Mookie Betts was wearing a shirt yesterday that said we need more black people in the stadiums. I think I saw a stat that said only like 7% of the people who attend Dodger games is African American or people of color. So that's pretty wild. but I actually don't think that stat was correct. I think they was confusing two different stats, but I could be wrong. Either way, I be seeing a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Latino Americans, Hispanic Americans, Mexican Americans in the stands. Now, I don't see a lot of African Americans in the stands just because I don't think baseball is a big thing in the African American community right now. Now, I know a lot of people who really do love baseball and who try to get their kids into baseball will tell you that it costs too much for the average African American family. Like Deion Sanders was talking about it a couple weeks ago, how they done priced out African American families. Like the average African American family cannot afford to put their child in baseball because of how expensive it is. And so when you have to make a decision between that and basketball, because AAU is expensive too, however, a lot of AAU teams going to have sponsors. A lot of those coaches and shit work with the parents, especially with the African American parents, because a lot of the kids that's in AAU is African Americans. And so that type of program and the way that's set up and shit is so much easier for African Americans to have access to. That's such a more, and just put it like this. I'm not saying it's easier to be great at basketball than it is baseball, but if you don't have the resources to be great at either one, and you just trying to become great by yourself, it don't cost nothing to go buy a basketball. You know what I'm saying? You can even go buy an inflated basketball for $1 nowadays. To get a hoop don't cost you nothing no more. Bro, you probably wouldn't even spend $40 to get both of those things. And boom, you off and running. Shit, fuck buying a hoop. You can go to a gym. You can go to a public court. You can go anywhere and get shots up nowadays. So it's so much easier and cheaper to become great at basketball. Whereas to become great at baseball, you probably don't have parents or anybody in your life that's great at baseball who could really throw multiple type of pitches to give you that type of look on what type of pitches you see. Everything probably going to be a fastball. You probably don't have the resources as far as like getting all the different type of equipment that you need for baseball. All the different type of protective gear you'll need at a young age so you don't get clocked with a baseball and things of that nature. All the different type of training you're going to have to go through for like it's just so much harder to not have resources in baseball and still become great at baseball. Whereas you don't have to have, I done seen multiple great players in basketball never have a resource, never be trained and nothing like that. They just naturally talented. They know how to, they look at clips on YouTube. And like I can look at baseball players hit home runs all day long. That's not going to make me no better. Like if I go outside, that's not going to, if I go outside and swing like Giancarlo Stanton, that's doing nothing for me, really. I swing it like Byron Buxton. That's doing nothing for me. Swing it like Mookie Betts. Like I'm watching Mookie run the bases and stuff like that. It's not really helping my baseball game. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, watching them, you want to be like them and shit like that if you're a baseball. But that's not, you look at Steph or LeBron and you see different things they do and you like, that's tangible. I can do that. I can work on that type of thing. I can get better at you know what I'm saying? So I just think it's kind of different in that aspect. But I think that's one of the reasons you don't see a lot of African Americans in baseball nowadays or pushing their kids towards baseball or a ton of African Americans at the games. And I agree with Mookie. I do think we need more African Americans in stadiums or black people in stadiums because I do think but this is what I was saying a couple months ago or in one of the videos I had did one time. Because baseball don't really market their players the way they should, it's hard to look at basketball. The NBA is probably the best league in the world as far as marketing their superstars. Every single superstar in their league, hell, all stars in their league can become big time off the court because of their name and likeness and how the NBA pushes the player. The NFL is a little bit more about the shield, so you actually got to become a great player most of the time to actually get some type of recognition. And then you got great players who still don't get that type of recognition because the teams might not be on TV a lot. They might play on a team where it's got other players with bigger names, so they don't get as much credit for the first couple of seasons of them being great. So many different things go into it. Whereas in basketball, bro, you gonna know about if you got a dude on your team averaging 19 points, 18 points that you didn't think was going to do, you're going to know about him. That's why you have the Lynn Sanities. That's why you have who was my boy for Portland that went off this year? That went crazy when Dame got hurt. I can't remember dude's name at the moment, but so many different NBA players. You see random names that you didn't hear of become household names on a yearly basis. Pascal Siakam 1 year. Like, because of how the NBA pushes stars, that's why last night in the MLB game, like in the All-Star game, and I know we're talking a lot of basketball, but I'm just trying to make comparisons. Not necessarily comparisons, but based off of the topic that I'm talking about, it's easy to make the comparison. Because the MLB, to me, if they did a better job at marketing their stars, and that's not just the MLB, the NFL too, but the NFL do a better job than MLB, but that's a lot because the NFL is like the biggest league in America. It's always funny to me when I see people who say like, well, actually, NFL's not. Soccer is the biggest. Bro, in America, we only watch soccer when it's the USA women's team, bro. Other than that, the biggest sport in America is is football, bro. Like, American football. We don't watch soccer, my guy. Like, I know we like as Americans to engage in the messy conversations and blah, blah, blah. And well, I get that. No, most Americans are not watching soccer at the rate they're watching football, American football. I'm just telling you what it is. Just no sport really can compare to football. I don't even think the UFC compared to football because you can have matches that's so short. You know what I'm saying? Like a knockout can live for a long time, but just imagine it's a regular knockout that you done seen millions of times and it happened within the first couple minutes of the fight. I mean, I just don't think nothing can compare to football. What, 2-3 hour long game or whatever. It's just nothing that can compare. But we're not talking about football either. We're talking about Major League Baseball. We're talking about the MLB 2022 All-Star Game. Now, the scoring got started early for the NL. And the NFL done lost this game the last 8 years, I think. And they lost again tonight. But that's neither here nor there. They, So the game, I'm finna just go over the game real quick because it really don't need to talk much about the game. Mookie and Trey Turner got the scoring started off because my guy Mookie is a GOAT. They took Mookie and Trey Turner out of this game eventually, and I don't know why they did that. However, after that, a couple innings happened later, and I think it was like 2 innings later, and Giancarlo hit a 2-run home run to tie the game, and then right after he hit that, Byron Buxton fucking nuked the pitch out of the zone. I think it was like a high fastball, and it was a high fastball. Like, it was out of his strike zone, and he barreled that bitch. Like, bro, I think his shit might have went further than Giancarlo Stanton's home run. And the crazy thing about Giancarlo used to growing up, Giancarlo would come to Dodger Stadium and watch the games. I also don't know how many African Americans is growing up taking their kids to baseball games. Like, I have a minor league stadium in the city that I used to live in for a long time. Winston-Salem had the Warthog Stadium, and then the Warthogs became the Dash, and they got a proper stadium. And I done been to that stadium like 3 times in my lifetime. Maybe no more than 5. I've never been more than 5 times. But you can see it every time you hit that highway over there where I used to, when I used to live in Winston. However, I don't know how many people is really, like, I don't know how many of my friends, like, I could talk to all my friends. None of my friends would tell you that they were ever taken to a, now, I don't even know how many, like I just said, it's no, when so in Durham, we had a Durham Bulls. I've never been to a Durham Bull game. I went to school in the area in downtown Durham where it's at. Like the stadium's right across the street from my school. Every night that I had school, where I was like, if I had school late that night, if I was in class late, if we had like one of them late classes that colleges love to have you do, not giving a fuck that you got class the next morning, it would always be hectic down there in that area because, you know, Durham Bulls would be playing. I think that's the Rays affiliate team, the Tampa Bay Rays affiliate. But it's not a fucking MLB team in my area anyway, so it would be no reason for me to go, you know what I'm saying? like, I understand that sometimes you might have an MLB player that's recovering from some type of injury and they going through their rehab process in the minors, and you might see them play one night. But other than that, I mean, it really feel like the only people who really taking advantage of that is the motherfuckers who continue to see Jacob deGrom pitching AAA on a yearly basis, because he always recovering from some shit. But yeah, I don't know how many black African American families really taking their kids to see. Like, I could just go to Charlotte to go see the Hornets play. You know what I'm saying? I can just run up to Charlotte to go see the Carolina Panthers play. My homie done went to see the Panthers play, 100+ times at this point. Like, that motherfucker love the Panthers. He went to see them when when Jake Delahoma was their quarterback. He went to go see them when they had him. Now, he not old like that, bro. He only he about to be 30 soon. Or 29. He finna be 30, I think. Yeah, because I think he 2 years older than me. He finna be 30. But, anyways, back to the game. Byron Buxton basically hit the game-winning nuke, because no more scoring would happen after, barely any more hits would happen after that moment. Yeah, I think the NL only had one more hit after that, and that was by Austin Riley. But after that, they had no more hits. They didn't score again. For the most part, you was just watching pitchers do their thing. And that was about it. And so, real quick, shout out to Ryan Helsley. Motherfucker was cranking 103. Like, I think that motherfucker threw an 103 mile per hour fastball like 3 or 4 times. He tossed just casually, just yoinked the 103 mile per hour. But his pitching performance would not be the best one of the night, because Emmanuel fucking Clase. First off, before I talk about Clase, because I can remember Clase, I'll get back to Clase further down in the video. I want to talk about Gregory Soto, the reliever for the Tigers who was in the game. This dude lost the strike zone so fast, and once he lost it, like, bruh. I see what people be talking about when they talk about Gregory Soto and his where he just lose a strike zone. Like, his first 3 pitches, I think, were like strikes. Or his first 3 pitches, I think, were all strikes. One just got hit off a foul. His next 4 to 5 to 6 pitches was just straight up all out of the zone. Like, I'm talking not just out of the zone, like good out the zone pitches. Way out of the zone. Like, it's no shot nobody swinging at these pitches. That was absolutely crazy to me, because I'm not sitting down watching no Detroit Tigers games, bro. So I'm not paying attention to Austin Riley. So I'm not paying attention to Gregory Soto. To see how quick he lost the zone last night, and to see how bad he lost it after he did lose it, was absolutely scary. I'm like, that's crazy. But speaking about things that happened around the game, because the game really wasn't entertaining or anything like that. Like, it was a new rule this year that if it had ended in a tie, they would have had a little pseudo home run derby, which would have been lit. So I wish it had ended in a tie, as this announcers talked about all night. But the MLB got to find ways to make the All-Star game. That's what I want people to remember throughout this conversation, throughout the show. This is an all-star game. I'm talking about the all-star game, not the regular season. In the regular season, a game like this, it's cool. I have no problem. Yeah, you're going to have people still yelling, oh, this is boring. But it's a game in the season. It doesn't matter. This is an all-star game. I understand baseball, and the baseball purists take a lot of pride in the fact that our all-star game is the only one that looks as close to the original game. That's a lie. The NBA All-Star game looks just like a real basketball game without the defense. And it's not even without the defense. You can go to any park in America and see people on the court playing just as bad defense. They just can't score on the level of the motherfuckers in the All-Star game. In the NBA, I mean. So, to me, I don't like it when people say that the NBA All-Star... Like, to me, the NBA All-Star ain't never been bad. The All-Star game has never been bad to me. Like, I'm being dead serious with you. For one, I understand that these dudes need that quick little break. The fact that because it's a mid-season All-Star game, I understand the purpose of the All-Star game because the NBA All-Star game feel like it get bigger every single fucking year because they the only team or the only league in America or professional sporting league that actually nails the All-Star weekend 10 out of 10. Like, I don't care how bad the dunk contest is every year, even though the dunk contest is starting to get just tragically bad, the All-Star game always nail it. It's just these bozos on TV who don't like fun, who think, well, I want to see them play and try to actually go out there and compete, even though it's a mid-season game. Like, the season's not over. They still have to go back the week after and start playing real games again. So I never understand those arguments where people like, we want to see them go out there and compete like it's a real game. That's nuts. I've always looked at it as the fact that you got dudes who go out there and have to be the backbone for their team during the regular season, and they still decide to give you a show during the NBA All-Star game, and the fact that these players done basically made an agreement with each other. We not finna go out there and play crazy and try to hurt each other and try to tear ACL. You know, nobody is walking away from this game injured, aside from Kobe when Dwayne Wade wanted to be a douche. Shout out Wade. But because they basically done came to that agreement, but they still agree to play hard. Now listen, obviously, yeah, you got times where they won't contest a dunk or something like that. Get over it. Like, Jesus Christ. And then I be saying people like, man, you could go sit to the park and see people do this. No, you can't, bro. That, like, I get so sick and tired of people saying that. No, you can't. So the gist of this is the MLB got to figure out ways to make their All-Star game better. Because, yes, I get it. The purists, oh, man. The purists absolutely love what transpired last night. They liked that the All-Star game looked almost like a real game. But the purpose of an All-Star game is to showcase your talent. To put these guys on a bigger stage than they normally get to play on. Unless it's like in the playoffs or some shit. But this stage is bigger than the stages they usually will play on during the season. Unless obviously you like the Yankees or something. And you just one of those teams that's every game is a big game because you got that type of fan base. But for most of these players, the Luis Arias and, you know, some of the Jose Trevinos, you know, for some of the Julio Rodriguez's, for some of these guys, this is going to be their biggest stage, like I said, unless they get to the playoffs or something. But even then, this is where a whole bunch of eyes is watching. Fans of all type of teams is watching this. This is where you want your young stars to be showcased. That's why I was irritated that it took them to like this 8th or 7th inning to finally put a microphone on Julio Rodriguez. Like, Julio Rodriguez should have been mic'd up from the moment the All-Star game started, and they should have been checking in with him throughout the night. I don't care if you have to force Julio Rodriguez to wear a fucking mic. He will thank you later down the line. Not to mention, this is a Dominican-born player, I believe, that can speak English already. Meaning, I cannot tell you how important it is, or how not important, but how much more you could blow up. Seeing as how MLB is in America, most of the people here, we speak English. That's the language here. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that superstars like Shohei Ohtani can't speak English, but I can guarantee you Shohei Ohtani is trying to learn English because his brand will take off even more. The fact that you could feel somebody's emotions and actually understand what they're saying when they talk, and you don't need an interpreter. Now, you do got some of those dickheads out there who, when people of other cultures and other countries come and they speak, people like to say, oh, they speak a broken English. I hate it when people say that shit. Like, I really don't like that. I don't like that at all. Because to me, that's hella disrespectful, for one. Like, that's hella disrespectful. Because I'm close with people who speak like that. Like, if you ever been around a Hispanic, they might say a sentence where it's grammatically incorrect, but you know what the fuck they mean. And they speak like that all the time because they've learned English. And while, yes, they've learned English, it was easier to learn it in a certain type. When you learn in that type of English, and it's your second fucking language, it's just like if I was to learn Spanish or Latin or any other type of language, bro. I would say sentences wrong all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I just hate it when people do that, bro. Just personally. However, maybe it's me wearing an emotion though, because I'm close to people who speak like that, and so I can see how irritated they get. And I've heard personally them tell me how irritated they get when people try to come at them for how they say a sentence or something, and try to clown them about it, or think like, when you know what I'm saying, like what I said, I put two words, in the wrong place, and now you trying to be funny. Like, I hate that shit. You finna hear some AC though, cause it's hot. But the goal of the MLB All-Star game is to make your stars bigger, to put them on a stage that they don't get to be on a regular basis. And so, like I said, Julio Rodriguez should have had that mic. He should have been mic'd up earlier, because in the long run, he's going to appreciate all the attention he got tonight, because it helped build his brand, it helped build his fan base. That's what you should be trying to do. I understand the NFL and the MLB and some of these other leagues is team. We all about building the team and the brand. That's really them saying we all about making the billionaires more money, because those are the dudes who own the teams. Okay? They can have these teams all they want to. If they don't have good players, bro, the New York Giants wouldn't bring in that type of money if it not for the fact they had a historic franchise. If their franchise was just trash all the way through, basically like the Jaguars and the Cleveland Browns, they would be bringing in the type of money those two bum-ass franchises would be bringing in. They wouldn't be looked at as now, I'm happy that in the recent couple years, people actually done started looking down on the Giants. Like, people done started calling them out for them being as trash as they've been. But we ain't here to talk about the New York Giants. We're here to talk about baseball. But I don't get it, but I don't understand it either. I realize that's the thing in these sports, that they want the brand to become bigger and whatnot. And, the player got to get it how he live or whatever. I'm not a fan of that. Julio Rodriguez should have been mic'd up. Aaron Judge was on the mic and broke it on purpose. You're not gonna tell me he didn't. He was done with this. Now, for Aaron Judge, it's kind of weird to me that he didn't take that moment to kind of show his personality. Bro, you play in New York. You're probably gonna re-sign with New York. Like, I don't see Aaron Judge leaving New York. Why? Obviously he already big. He played for the Yankees. He don't have to market himself. He already going to be a big brand. And I understand he's just not that type of guy. But what you don't want in baseball is another Mike Trout. In a sense that you have a mega star. Mike ain't even a mega star. He just great at baseball at this point, because he don't want to sell his brand. He don't want to talk on the mics. He don't want to go out and above to interact with fans. And I'm not talking about interact like with charity and stuff. I'm talking about just interacting with fans to build his brand even more. It's a real thing when people talk about if you get a group of 5 people. I saw an interview where it was like 4 out of the 5 didn't know who Mike Trout was by his face. By just like seeing his face, they didn't know that was Mike Trout. That's a problem if for the last couple years, he's supposedly the best player in baseball. That's a problem. And so, you don't want another Mike Trout. You don't want to have a supreme talent of a Mike Trout, and 4 out of 5 people don't even know who the fuck he is just based off of seeing his face. You do not want that if you are Major League Baseball. So, in my opinion, in order to these type of moments, this type of weekend should be used to make these dudes even bigger. They should be on all the commercials. They should be on all the different interview stations that's at the All-Star game. They should be having reporters in their face left and right. The Big Papi, who about to be a Hall of Famer in a couple weeks. Shout out to Big Papi in a couple days probably. One of my favorite players all time. I tell people all the time, my homeboy E used to be like, yo, why do you like the Red Sox? I was like, I don't like the Red Sox. I like Big Papi and I like Mookie Betts. That's it. And I love Jonathan Pat. I don't want to say love Jonathan Pat, not Jonathan Papa. Fuck him. Dustin Pedroia. I love Mookie Betts and Big Papi. Those two are my favorite players all the time. And I fuck with Dustin Pedroia heavy, Kevin Youkilis. You know what I'm saying? But after Mookie left and Big Papi retired, I just been fucked the Red Sox ever since. I do like Xander Bogaerts and Rafi Devers And see, those are two people of color. Like, they not African Americans. They are from different countries. But they still people of color that you could, like, you wouldn't be able to relate to them if you're African American, as far as, like, because you wouldn't understand what because most of them don't speak fluid. I think Rafi actually do speak English. I think Rafi and Xander speak English, actually. I'm pretty sure both Rafi, I done heard both of them do interviews and speak in English. And I think Xander Bogart speak English fine. I'm pretty sure both of them, yeah, I'm almost certain. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain both of them speak English. And I'm almost certain Xander is like fluid, like a fluid English speaker. But I could be wrong. I might be hyping him up right now. But I just like to call out the people of color that I talk about on as basically. So when I have African Americans, people of color watching this, they can know what players to go. You know what I'm saying? Like a Fernando Tatis, a Manny Machado, a Mookie Betts. Those two players I just named in Xander Bogaerts and Rafi Davis, a Ronald Acuna Jr., a Julio Rodriguez. But see, you had every single person I just named basically was at the All-Star game last night. Every single one of those dudes should have been mic'd up at some point in time. Even if they said, no, I don't want to do it, you got to force them to. You got to let them understand, bro, this is how you build your brand. I understand some of these dudes don't want to build their brand. Fine. But listen, the money that you will be able to make off of the baseball field after baseball, hell, the money you could make while you playing baseball would be so much easier. This could open another avenue for you. So I think that the MLB should go harder when it comes to promoting the young stars of this game, even the older stars of this game. I mean, damn, Max Scherzer. I don't even know if most people know who Max Scherzer is. The casual person, like, who not a baseball, like, I can go to show a baseball fan Michael Jordan, and I know they'll know who he is. I can show them Kobe and LeBron, and I'm pretty sure they'll know who he is. I don't know if you show a picture of Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom to an average NBA fan or NBA fan, they would know who those two dudes are by name or by face. And so I just think you got to do something. The MLB can do a better job at broadcasting, showcasing, and giving their stars mics. Like, one of the things that I took from last night in the MLB All-Star game was the dudes who actually gave who were actually mic'd up, who decided to be mic'd up, all had some type of success last night. So Alek Manoah was mic'd up last night on the mound, had 3 strikeouts. Giancarlo Stanton was mic'd up. He was supposed to be mic'd up with Aaron Judge, but we talked about that already. Aaron Judge with the self-sabotage. But Giancarlo Stanton, one of my favorite players since he was with the Miami Marlins, he was mic'd up last night. And as he was leaving the field to unmic, he said, I hope I hit one this time. And blasted a 2-run home run at his next at bat after taking the mic off. Like, the dudes who were mic'd up had success. Nestor Cortez had a very enjoyable outing with the if he could locate that sidearm pitching, that shit would be kind of lethal. But this dude's wind-ups, his different type of... Nestor is a phenomenon. He was mic'd up along with them, but he was also mic'd up with his catcher, Jose Trevino. Both of them dudes was mic'd up at the same time, along with the 2 dudes in the booth. That was one of the better MLB All-Star Game moments. I love that for Jose Trevino, especially because even after they got the 3 outs, he kept the mic on for his next at-bat and kept talking to the people. Like, he wasn't being static. He was actually talking with them, having a good time, and came up and got a hit his next at-bat. So I'm kind of disappointed that MLB, the show, didn't give Jose Trevino a card. They didn't realize the importance of what he did last night. Because what Jose Trevino did was interacted with the mic, which was interacting with the fans, giving an inside perspective to the fans on how he feel, different things that they was talking about, building his brand, building his personality, getting his name out there to people who didn't know who Jose Trevino was. And not only did he do that for them, but he was rewarded on the field. Like, to me, that means something. That's exactly what for one, that Nestor Cortez the booth and Jose Trevino. That was legitimately fire. Like, that was dope. But I guess guys didn't want to be on the mic or something, so that's why they didn't do it with as many people. I just feel like next year MLB got to say, like, listen, dude, listen, guys, this is how you build your brand. This is how you build your image and likeness. This is how people know who you are. I understand you might think I'm big in Atlanta, Ronald. I'm big in LA. I'm big in the city that I play for. But you're probably not that big in other places, especially if you're not a Ronald Acuna Jr. You know what I'm saying? You know who Paul Goldschmidt is in Arizona and in St. Louis. It's not a lot of people who know who Paul Goldschmidt is in every other place around the world or in other cities, because that's just not. Baseball fans. How do I say it? Baseball fans probably know who you are, but the casual fan of other sports definitely don't know who you are if you're playing in another state and never played for them before. So that's how you overlook a Mike Trout for so many years. That's how a talent like a Mike Trout don't get the type of play. Hell, Bryce Harper. I think Bryce Harper get talked about more than Mike Trout. I think more people know who would know who Bryce Harper is by name and his face. And you don't think, I think Bryce Harper is just as great as Mike Trout, to be honest with you. But I'm biased because Bryce Harper one of my favorite players all the time. So it's just like if I'm speaking on him or Mookie Betts, bro, just know it's a whole bunch of bias going to come through. I'm just telling you that right now. If I'm speaking on Mookie Betts or Bryce Harper, a shit ton of bias is going to come through because I love both of those dudes. Those are absolutely two of my favorite players to ever pick up a baseball bat, as is Big Papi. Big Papi is legitimately the only reason I ever started watching the Red Sox. The only reason. He and Manny Ramirez. Because Manny Ramirez is one of my favorite players all time, too. And it's so funny that Mookie ended up with... Because I know Manny played for the Indians, but Manny in Boston and in LA was really when I got on to Manny and when he became a sensation to people my age, because a lot of my homies knew who Manny Ramirez was, too. Like, we fucked with Manny Ramirez. We all knew who Big Papi was. Big Papi. But to me, that's the Jose Trevino. I love that moment for him. I'm not even a Yankees fan. And I just love players having these type of moments because I know what these type of moments can do for him. He probably got more followers after those interviews and after that. Because people get to know who you are. They get to try to relate to you. They get to get inside perspectives on how you feel, what type of personality you have. Like, these are things that the MLB should be doing for him already, but they ain't, obviously. So, to me, that should be the goal for this MLB All-Star game, because this is an All-Star game. This ain't no regular game in, July, not January, but this is not just a normal game during the season. This is the All-Star game. This is supposed to be over the top, all out. Like, this is supposed to be one of the moments of the year for baseball where you draw in as many fans as possible. And you got to try to keep it going all weekend. Now, I already think it's kind of weird that they don't do their shit during the actual weekend. I think that would make it better if they actually did it on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But they don't, because they don't have 3 events to go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They only got the home run derby. I think they need to figure out some type of event to do with the pitchers. They actually do got 3 events because they got the Future Stars game, which is like, I think, the Americans against the International or some shit like that. But I think this is what they should do. Another thing that they should do, I think, because I realized this after last night. When you have the All-Star game with so little action through so many innings, you got to have a Charles Barkley, Pat McAfee type of personality in the booth that can keep fans engaged, that can keep fans entertained. I know for a fact, when you watch this game as a fan or as a casual fan that's never watched baseball, you're not staying on this game after the 2 innings because of how slow the game going, how nothing's happening. Like I said, the NL didn't get but 1 hit after the 3rd or 4th inning. That's a lot of baseball with no hits or with just 1 hit for a team. And so when you have that happening, to go back to Emmanuel Clase. Could you imagine if you got Pat McAfee or Charles Barkley and they're talking about how Clase was dotting? Clase had probably the best pitching performance I saw last night. I didn't get to see Clayton Kershaw. I came home and the game was in that second inning, I believe. So Clayton had already pitched, and Clayton, one of my favorite pitchers all time, so I'm mad that I didn't actually get to see that. I just go back and watch the highlights. But Emmanuel Clase, I knew he was good because I started watching baseball again like 2 years ago, and then I really heard about him last year, and I watched him last year. Bruh, I don't think, and this is another thing, this is why I say Emmanuel Clase, fans of the Cleveland Guardians know who he is. Other fans of other teams might not know who an Emmanuel Clase is. I definitely know just the sports public might not know who Emmanuel Clase is. Emmanuel Clase is not leading off no conversations unless he do something like get into a fight or something. But Emmanuel Clase should be broadcasted. Now, maybe he don't speak English. I don't know. But Emmanuel Clase, what he came in and did in that ninth inning was disgusting. This dude, for one, his first 4 or 5 pitches all hit high velo, like 98 plus. All of them was like located, like he dotted all 5 of them. It wasn't like no hangers and that like they was all tough places to put the ball and try to hit him. That's why he got out Schwarber and dude in like a Bruh, Emmanuel Clase is disgusting. That cutter slider, I think it is a slider he throw, a cutter slider fastball combo. Bruh, this dude's cutter is unreal. I'm looking at this dude and his motion and his Emmanuel Clase is a problem. When you have that type of repertoire and you can throw those pitches at Jesus Christ, imagine if this dude had a curveball, bro. Yo, imagine if this dude had a curveball or a changeup, bro. Something to really fuck up the speed differentials in him, bro. Oh, my goodness. I mean, you go from throwing 98, 100 plus to dropping down to 70, 80, bro. I mean, good Lord. That's the problem with Hensley. You got a motherfucker who launching 103 on his fastball, and then he cranking it down to like 80 something to 70 something on his slider and on his curveball. I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro, being an MLB hitter is tough. It's tough. And for my Philly fans out there, this was Kyle Schwarber's opportunity to redeem himself after that bullshit he pulled in the home run derby and couldn't do it. I just want y'all to know, if Bryce Harper was playing, he would have tied the game. I just want y'all to know that. Bryce Harper would have tied the game if that was him up at bat. I just want y'all to know that. Because Bryce is that guy. Mookie, we would have won if Mookie had a play. See, I'm not going to be no hoe and not tell y'all who I wanted to win. I wanted the NL to win. Why did you want the NL to win? Because Bryce Harper and Mookie Betts play for the motherfucking NL. And as does Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado. Everybody I just named is a person of color except for Bryce Harper. You need to fuck with all 3 of them other dudes, but fuck with Bryce too, because that's that guy. I saw Jonathan Papelbon talking crazy about Bryce Harper, but I'm not going to get into that because who is Jonathan Papelbon to a Bryce Harper? So, to me, that's just more ways you can hype up the MLB All-Star Game, because this is supposed to be a spectacle. You shouldn't be worried about this game looking as much like the real game as possible. That's a problem. If these games turn into the games that's 1-2 score runs when it's a low-scoring game with nothing happening through most of the action, that's going to draw people away who want to come see an All-Star Game with action. So I think you have to add, have the that Nickelodeon shit ain't going to help nothing. That ain't helping nothing. But I just think it might. I just think there's other ways you can do this. I feel like one of the things, this. Let me tell you what I'd do if I was a pitcher, and I'm being dead ass serious. Y'all know, if you don't listen to me enough, bro, you already know I ain't gonna lie to you about something like this. There's no purpose to. And maybe this will contradict what I said yesterday, but I don't think that a home run derby is the same as an All-Star game. Okay? If I was one of the pitchers for the All-Star game, I would go up to the other team of pitchers and ask which one of y'all motherfuckers is truly Which one of you motherfuckers truly want to be big after this game, be a talking point after this game, and absolutely make sure that we have at least one inning of pure fucking excitement? Somebody in that room is going to agree. Somebody is going to not care about their ego and all this other type of shit and is going to want to go out there and actually have fun. Whatever pitcher it is on that other team, that's the pitcher that I'm pitching with. That's who I'm going to talk to the manager. I'm like, when you put me in the game, make sure we talk to the other team because I'm coming into the game at the same time as this other pitcher. We have to come in at the same time or this will not work. Because the other pitch on the other side could be a hoe and try to really get our dudes out after I pull what I'm about to pull. And so once me and the pitcher in the game, before we get in the game, we're going to have a conversation with the dudes in the back. Like, listen, when me and him is up, it's time to have fun. We are about to have a pseudo motherfucking home run derby. I'm throwing straight meatballs, my guy. I'm not throwing nothing straight. Bro, nothing is popping like 40 on the on the gun radar, bro, on the speedar. Like, I'm throwing straight meatballs. I'm talking about Franny Pena. You ain't got nothing on what I'm finna do, my guy. I'm finna throw straight meatballs. We are about to have an absolute explosion during the All-Star game. I guarantee you the fans will get lit for that shit. I guarantee you the announcers. Why do I care about my ERA in the All-Star game? Why do I care about how great I played in the All-Star game? I'm here to have fun. I'm here for motherfuckers to actually be excited. This is a time for us to take a break from baseball. I'm not trying to come up to bat and trying to face the best pitchers in baseball throwing they toughest shit because they don't want to be embarrassed at an All-Star game. I ain't got no time for that. I ain't got no time for that. So, and some people might say, well, so you just want purposely? Yes, because I'm more excited. Do you know how much they're going to talk about me after the game? This dude came in and was just throwing meatballs. He ain't doing that. You damn right I'm not doing that during the regular season because that's the regular season. This is an all-star game. If the MLB can't find ways to make the game funner, then I will. One of the reasons I think the MLB have a hard time making this game funner is because of egos of players. Players don't want to go out there and look bad. Mainly pitchers. And so, which is why I come to the conclusion at all times, pitchers ain't nothing but a bunch of bitches. However, that's neither here nor there right now. Aside from Liam Hendricks. But you look at these dudes and you say, how can we get the most out of these guys at the All-Star game, the most fun out of them? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would even try to think of ways to try to change up the game. Like, not even just, having me and another pitcher on the other team just go a whole inning where we just throwing meatballs to the opposing teams to see if they can run it up. Because I guarantee you the crowd gonna get a pop out of that. But it feel like the only thing right now and the MLB kind of lazy. Because right now the only event in the MLB that really make money for them, or that's really big during the All-Star game at least, is the home run derby. And I don't think that the way to make everything exciting is to add it, to basically turn it into a pseudo home run derby, even though the long ball is the best thing to happen in baseball. You can put other type of stipulations on type of events and shit like that. Like maybe have the pitchers have to hit for a whole inning. All the all-star pitchers that made it to the all-star game, have every single one of them have to line up and be the pitchers. And now you have all the position players throwing for one inning. Like shit like that to hype up the all-star game. The all-star game is not supposed to be a regular game of baseball. It's supposed to be an all-star game of baseball. And with that, you can do whatever you want to. Look at how they added the 24 Kobe rule in the NBA All-Star game. And look how much better that made it. I didn't even think that rule would make it that much better, but it did. Now, one day we're going to pay for that rule because the team going to be losing by like 30 when they get to that at the end of them 3 quarters. And then the other team going to need just 24 more after they already beat it. They already up 30. So that's going to work crazy one day. However, the MLB should do something like that for the All-Star game. Like, could you imagine if they had lined up all the pitchers in the All-Star game and said, okay, you guys got to hit and all the positional players are throwing this inning? Could you imagine if we did something like that? Or we had specific matchups on the night and shit like that. Like Manny Machado might have to take on a certain type of positional player, and then vice versa the next end. Like, can you imagine if things like that happen? Like, they should add things like that to make the MLB All-Star game way better. Because to me, Yes, I understand there's purists out there who are going to love the fact that this was just a regular game of baseball. However, you don't want this just to be a regular game of baseball. You want this to be the pinnacle. Other than the championship, you want this to be one of the things that propel your sport, to push it forward, to get new viewers, to get new audience members, to grow the fan base, to grow the sport. That's what you should be, to grow these guys' popularity. Because the more young people come up, they get attached to players. It's hard to compete when you're going against LeBrons, Currys, Tom Brady's, Aaron Donald's. It's hard. Kevin Durant's, James Harden's. People that people can see. They know them. They can go to their Instagrams and Twitters and see them on YouTube and shit like that. You got to start doing that for your players. Ken Griffey Jr., somebody that most athletes know, is not somebody that most people nowadays who just now, the younger people know. Ken Griffey is one of your greats. Barry Bonds is the GOAT, just by the way. But I understand what y'all gonna say with that. However, Ken Griffey is somebody who should be on everything. Albert Pujols, this is his last season. He should be on everything. It's ways to make your game. And I just want to say this. If Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera only are going to take one at bat, it was no purpose of putting them on this all-star team. Absolutely no purpose. I don't think Miguel should have been anyways because he ain't retiring this year. But with that, I appreciate you. I did enjoy the All-Star game, though. I enjoyed it. I'm just saying the way to make it better, to grow it, to make it bigger for other people would be to do the things I just said. But some people won't agree with it. Some baseball purists won't agree with it. They'll be like, hey, you just stay a casual and blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, with how the game grew from what I'm telling you, they would enjoy it. So I appreciate you for joining me on a rare episode of Swinging It with Saint. I just made that up off the top of my head. But I appreciate you for joining me, man. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Mookie Betts is still that motherfucking guy. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, you know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.